Everybody else has been saying it. Let's see who stands on business tonight in Logan.
You're right about that. Well, here we go. Caden Dudley is deep for Boise State. And Blake Anderson didn't dodge those numbers. He talked about the frustration of continually losing to the Broncos. Dudley, fair catch. Papa John's starting lineup with the injury to Maddox Madsen. No two-quarterback system tonight. It's all Taylon Greens.
It's been a real mixed bag this season for the quarterback position. A lot of unclarity about who the clear #1 starter is. Well, those questions have been answered. With the injury to Maddox Madsen, it's the Taylon Green show tonight, so look for Boise State to try to run the football and simplify the reads that Green has to make.
And boy, does he have two great running backs to choose from, because of course George Holani is back and he gets the start, and Ashton Genty will play, and you may see him all over the place tonight. Here we go, 1st and 10. First snap is high. Green has it, rolling right, looking right, tucking, and getting out of bounds. Maybe a gain of just one. Offensively for Boise State, this is a Bronco offense that moves the football, and they've got a young target on the outside, Prince Strawn.
Yeah, he really had a great game a week ago. 3 catches, 128 yards, and a 74-yard touchdown. A ton of injuries in that wide receiver group. Along with the tight ends, that young player is going to have to step up.
This is Holani, and he's hit, and he's dropped. Logan Peely coming through and making the hits.
That's a good sign for Utah State that wants to be able to stop people. But keep your eye tonight on Ike Larson. He's an instinctual playmaker, tied for the league lead in interceptions with 4. He has a knack, as this entire defense does, is stealing possessions. That's going to be key if they're going to be victorious here.
This is 3rd down and 11. Strawn and Billy Bowens.
See both linebackers mugged up in that A-gap. Sometimes they come, sometimes they drop.
Austin Bolt there as well, and that trip's set. That ball is deflected and incomplete. Someone got a hand on Green just as he released it. It looked like Paul Fitzgerald. And it's a 3-and-out for Boise State.
Boy, that's a jolt of confidence for this Utah State defense that needed some early. There's some late pressure, but that ball looks like it gets hit coming around the backside edge. Just a great job by Paul Fitzgerald getting his hand on the ball. This offensive line for Boise State has been really good in pass protection all season long, but it faltered there, and the Aggies took advantage.
Best punter in the country, James Ferguson Reynolds, is in, and the Aussie sends a spiraling kick. Davis backpedaling, makes an over-the-shoulder catch. That's a nice play by the returner. Not necessarily on the return, but just to capture the ball and keep it from rolling inside the 20. Papa John's, please welcome to the show, Cooper Lega.
Yeah, Cooper Lega. It took a while for this offense to get started a season ago, but then he got red hot. But he turned the ball over late in the 4th quarter when it was a 5-point game. His decision-making and taking care of the football are going to be critical.
He's been better at that after he was benched. The turnovers forced Blake Anderson to put him on the bench. McKay Hillstead came in, played well at times, but since Lega has come back, he's been much cleaner. Rasul Faizan is in the backfield. They ran the ball quite well against Nevada. Lega has time, running out of it, scrambles, no receivers on that side of the field, and he'll be knocked out of bounds, escorted there by Ty Benefield. Aggies offensively, don't sleep on the tight end, Brock Lane.
No, I think Brock Lane can have a big night tonight 2 ways, both blocking at the point of attack when they do run the ball, but also creating mismatches with the speed and tempo that they use offensively.
It's a loss of 2, 2nd down and 2. Micah Davis in motion. Flags are down, and so is the running back Faizan. Alexander Tubner comes up and makes the hit. And we await the verdict.
Tubner's a heat-seeking missile.
Illegal shift. 2 men in motion did not reset themselves. 5 yards previous spot, still 2nd down.
Blake Anderson is not only the head coach, he's also the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and he's coached a team that last week had 13 penalties for 126 yards. 6 of those for 50 yards were on the offense. And right now the Aggies are marching in the wrong direction.
2nd down and 17. Faison bounces off a tackle by Oladipo and then is brought down by DJ Schramm at about the 32. Boise State's defense, they're banged up. Andrew Simpson certainly, though, a playmaker.
He is a playmaker, Rich, but he's banged up too. You'll notice a big cast on his right hand, but he plays with a cast and an edge as well. The coaches really like what he brings to the table. They'd like the whole defense to play with the edge that Tim does.
3rd down 14. 4-man rush. Legault going down the sideline for Royals, and it's well over his head and incomplete. Jalen Clark on the coverage, and neither offense moves the ball with their first touch.
Yeah, both of these squads won with their defense early to start the game, which is really reminiscent of what it was a year ago. Took some cat and mouse and some time for guys to settle down, then we erupted in the second quarter, and we're off to a similar start here.
Utah State punt. That's Holani who's deep. And Holani, and it bounces off his foot, and it rolls out of bounds. A break for Boise State. Their second possession when we return. Logan, Utah for the Broncos and the Aggies. 5-5 and 5-5. A bowl game awaits for the winner of this one. Look, it's chilly, but what a gorgeous scene here in Logan, Utah. A scoreless start. U.S. Army brings you Aaron's keys to the game.
Well, for Boise State, controlling the line of scrimmage when you're on the road and taking advantage of Holani and Genty. And defensively, they've got to limit the explosive plays. Utah State's going to take some shots like we saw on that previous drive. And for the Aggies offensively, they have to avoid negative plays. They had a sack and a penalty on their first drive, and defensively make Boise State throw to win. Taylon Green is a capable thrower, but not nearly as effective as he is running his legs. The Aggies have to load the box and force some 3rd and longs so that Tim has to beat him with his arms.
Look who's back. Genty, terrific receiver, as well as one of the top rushers on the West Coast. Caden Dudley coming screaming around the corner. Dudley right back to the line of scrimmage. That's the question for Utah State and Joe Coughlin, their defensive coordinator. Can they stop the running game? It's a great offensive line for Boise State with 2 really good tailbacks.
Yeah, and what you saw right there was Anthony Switzer, number 3, playing his tail off for Joe Coughlin, defeating the block at the point of attack and making the tackle.
Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator. Green's throw is dropped. Prince Strawn was open, and Green hit him between the 1 and the 7.
You got to remember, some of these wide receivers are very young, getting their first opportunities. To your point, that's a beautifully thrown ball. You wonder if Strawn heard some footsteps with the safety Ike Larson coming over there. That's a simple concentration drop, but one that Broncos needed.
Yeah, that wide receiver room is really thin right now for Boise State with the loss of McAllister. And remember, Stephon Cobbs is injured and out for the year as well. Green fires, man wide open, and he overthrows Austin Bolt, who had a big catch last week for a touchdown against Nevada, and it's 3 and out for Boise State.
It's a back-to-back 3 and outs, but this isn't Taylon Green's fault necessarily. This is a bad overthrow. That's a busted coverage on the back end for the Aggies, and you see a defensive back lose his footing, and it was just a simple overthrow. They had an opportunity on 2nd down there where the ball hit Strawn in the mid-carriage. And once again, Boise State struggling to move the chains offensively.
Utah State has blocked 2 kicks this year, a punt and an extra point, and that one is going to be kicked, I believe, by Devin Dye on special teams. Let's see where they mark it. It's inside the 20. Not a bad kick at all on a gorgeous night here. Scoreless.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Geico. For all your insurance needs, it's easy to Geico. By Verizon. Get the new titanium iPhone 15 Pro on us. And by Kubota. Together we do more.
These seniors have been through a lot here at Utah State, including a Mountain West championship back in 2021. 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. And here is Utah State now.
Utah State, yeah, they would like that first down so they could take advantage of some tempo and hit the gas pedal here.
Laga fires it, sideline, that's Royals. And that's a way of stretching this defense for Boise State from sideline to sideline.
The Aggies want to make you defend all 53 1/3 yards, the width of the field. You'll take a look at this shot all the way up here. They really stretch you out.
Yeah, outside the numbers on both sides. Laga fires, tight end caught there. That's Brock Lane. He got a block from the official, and he's out to the 44-yard line. He made the catch, but the man pursuing him got picked off.
Just on a shallow cross, and it's unfortunate that the umpire hit him. He clearly was in the way there, but that's football.
And here's the gas pedal you talked about. They will play as fast as anybody in the country now. Herbert Gums, Devon Booth with the carry. Look how quickly they want to get up. Now, we weren't kidding. Jacksonville State is the fastest. Utah State is the 4th fastest in the country. Just 21 seconds from ball down to snap going.
And they don't sub, so that makes it hard on guys like Herbert Gums, who just made a heck of a play there, especially late in the series.
Laga fires sideline. It's caught there just inside Boise State territory. Not a huge gain, but to Jalen Royals, the junior, who's got 56 catches and 11 touchdowns this year. He's 3rd in the nation in touchdowns. This is 3rd down and 1.
Boise State successfully was able to substitute there. Even though the ball was on this near sideline, they were able to bring some fresh bodies in there. Utah State must have taken a substitution themselves because the officials allowed Boise State to fully substitute.
On the mesh, oh, great play there. That's Tubner again, and that's going to be short of the 1st down. Alexander Tubner.
Utah State is 2nd in the conference in 4th down attempts. They're really aggressive, but here it looks like they're going to punt the football away. Great job there by Tubner by forcing this decision. But don't put it past Utah State. They ran a fake punt in last year's game successfully. They're not above doing that again here tonight.
And they tried one 2 years ago against Boise State as well.
Boise State smartly and punt safe. Their defense is still out there, giving them a chance to defend the fake.
And Ryan Marks will try to check it up inside the 10, and it does nicely. And Utah State's defense, which has held down Boise State so far, back on the field. Scoreless almost midway through this 1st quarter.
And we are back here in Logan. No score in the 1st quarter, just under 9 minutes. And the guys, we talked about it earlier, the Boise State's wideouts, Prince Straughn and Austin Bolt, they kind of flipped the switch last Saturday, combined for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns against New Mexico, but both getting to that point under unique circumstances. Prince, relatively new to the game, grew up with the Bahamas and started playing football in 2019. As for Bolt, he had to battle an injury back in 2022. And we talked to OC, Bush Hamden. He had nothing but positive feedback saying these two continue to grow. Hopefully we see a little bit more of that growth here today.
All right, thank you, Brandon. 2 3-and-outs for Boise State.
We got to get back to running the football.
You would think they would start, especially being inside the 10-yard line. And that's Holani. Now, Spencer Danielson, defensive coordinator, now a head coach, which means he's not going to spend as much time with his defense. He's still the defensive coordinator, but as the head coach, got the headset on. He's got Bush Hamden certainly the offensive coordinator in there. And you can see his profile. He's been in Boise for a while. And now the interim coach. And certainly yesterday, just impressive listening to him. And Holani breaks it across the 20, out to the 21.
Running between the tackles is something that Boise State does a really nice job of. Great block that time by Matt Lauder, literally the only healthy tight end that they've got on this roster that's got some experience, and he just sprung 24 for a big one.
And as you heard Brandon's report, with the young receiver corps now, Utah State is loading the box, just daring them to run, and Holani is going to pick up 4 yards out to the 25. But George Holani has been a terrific back when healthy for Boise State. His career in this series is pretty darn good. He's 4-0. He's averaging over 100 a game.
Yeah, he's had 55 carries coming into tonight in the last few weeks, so his load continues to increase. Every time he's rushed for 100 or more yards, Rich, Boise State's 13-0. Look for them to feed 24.
Green pulls it and is caught. Michael Anyanwu making the stop right at the 27-yard line. He lost his helmet, and so he's going to have to come off the sideline for this 3rd down.
This is a great job of keeping his force edge out there. It's his job to force everything back into the inside. If he loses his eyes there or gets beat to the outside, Green's still running. Now we see 2 backs in the backfield. This can put some stress on the defense. It's looking to bring some pressure here.
One of those is Billy Bowens, a wide receiver, and they'll throw it to Bowens out of the backfield, but he falls as he makes the catch, and he's 3 yards shy of the 1st down.
Rich, we're already starting to see some of the limitations of Taylon Green's arm. This is a beautiful play call by Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator, but Bowens has to come back to get the football. Ideally, you want that on his hip so that he can turn and run, and had he done that, that might have been a big gain. Instead, they're punting.
Ferguson Reynolds, whoa, that one was almost blocked. Micah Davis on the return, trying to get to the sideline, and he escapes a tackle, cross the 40, out to the 42-yard line. An excellent field position for Utah State. Ike Larson almost got another kick. He's blocked both of them. Utah State's 5-5, so is Boise State. Win gets them in a bowl game. And Micah Davis with a nice return. We can't wait for tomorrow's NFL on CBS doubleheader. Early games, huge AFC North showdown. Steelers and Browns. Later, AFC East. Josh Allen and the Bills take on the Jets tomorrow. The NFL on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. And why not? Bobby Wagner, you saw the Seahawks are playing as well tomorrow on CBS. He's still doing it. I think he and Merlin Olsen are the 2 best defensive players to come out of Utah State. He is a legend, is Bobby Wagner. In Seattle, he is as well. Cooper Legas, play action, fires down the field. Royals got it! And he is in! Touchdown! He made a leap. Tightrope on the sideline. And Legas to Royals. 6-0 Utah State.
Rich, Utah State saw that man-to-man coverage with Markel Reed, the boundary corner, and Royals beat him deep, did a great job adjusting to the football. Legas left enough air up underneath it. It's hard to see where that right foot was, but with the naked eye in real time, it looked like a tug.
Yeah, from that angle, you saw the right foot definitively inside. That's a terrific finish by Royals, who has a dozen touchdown catches this year. One of the nation's leaders. Elliot Nimrod, the extra points. Utah State, who has struggled so mightily in the first quarter this year, strikes first at home against Boise State. Legas to Royals. Good crowd here tonight, 7-0. Utah State seemingly has been behind every first quarter this year. So to jump out on Boise State, that's big for them.
That's really been what they wanted to do. Their defense got back-to-back 3-and-outs to start this game, something they hadn't done all season. Then their offense responds with a haymaker over the top, taking advantage of a Boise State defense that really struggles to stop the big passes.
And now Boise State will try to get their offense rolling. This is another explosive play, and they've got a ton of them this year.
Yeah, keep your eye right there. They're just locked together in man-to-man coverage. And this is just speed on speed. Great job that time by Royals creating some room, and Lagaw putting up air and throwing it a place where Royals could go get the football. Was just an excellent example of how they take those deep shots and make you pay versus single coverage.
Utah State has 11 plays of over 50 yards this year. That is #1 in the country. That was 57 yards on that. Genty is in to start this drive. Green fires it. Genty is there, breaks a tackle, breaks another. Genty's 40, still on his feet, out to the 48-yard line. Ike Larson made the stop.
That's a great play call that time by coordinator Bush Hamden, because Ashton Genty leads the country in forced missed tackles. Look at the people slide off him. Finally, Ike Larson comes over and gets him down on the ground. But my goodness, he's one of the nation's best at doing what we just saw there.
He's over 400 yards receiving. He's over 925 yards rushing. Nobody else in the country has numbers like that. Genty weaves his way to midfield, hit there, and knocked back. That was Paul Fitzgerald with the hit.
Really nice job. What I'm watching the Aggies do is collapse on the football. They're defeating their blocks and getting over into the rush lanes. Boise State's offensive line is doing a good job initially, but they have to sustain their blocks a little better than they're doing now.
Joe Coughlin, defensive coordinator for Utah State in his first season. Second and 8 play action. Green setting, firing, deep shot. Bolt is there, and it's incomplete. Bolt is a big receiver at 6'3", and he and Michael Anyanwu were hooked up.
Really nice coverage that time by Anyanwu. He was in his hip pocket. The ball was overthrown, and when Austin Bolt turned to look around, it was equal rights for the ball and another incompletion. This is great. If Utah State and their defensive coordinator, Joe Calton, can live here in third long this evening, they can win their matchup.
Billy Bowen's in motion. Three-man rush, plenty of time. Green flush now. And he's caught from behind.
Wow.
That's Anthony Switzer. Not many people do that to Taylon Green.
Joe Calton told us they were going to leave Anthony Switzer as the spy. They felt that he was athletic enough to be able to track down Taylon Green. Not many people in this entire conference can do what he just did there.
Switzer, second on the team in tackles. MJ Tafisi, the other linebacker, not only leads his team, but leads the Mountain West with 108 tackles in 10 games. And this Utah State defense has really been good in this first quarter. Long punt sails into the end zone. That's coming out to the 20. Monday, 4:30 Eastern, get your weekly dose of NFL highlights. Our Gridiron experts tackle the latest league headlines from a quarterback's point of view. Go under center, NFL Monday quarterback only on CBS Sports Network. Rich Waltz, Aaron Taylor, Brandon Baylor. Utah State, look at that. Worst in all of college football in the first quarter, but tonight, that 57-yard strike from Cooper Lagaw has him on top 7-0.
Yeah, remember, Blake Anderson is the play caller now. He took over those duties after last season, felt that it would give him an advantage and help him have more hands-on on this offense, and tonight it's working beautifully.
That one going nowhere. That was DJ Schramm, who has seemingly played hurt, and Faison himself is banged up. He goes down. DJ Schramm made the stop.
For an injury on the offense.
Point. Utah State just got all three of their tailbacks healthy.
Yeah, and Faison had a monster game a week ago. 22 carries.
That was
career
Schramm.
high, 181 yards and a touchdown. And Schramm fighting through, pushed his own guy, and Faison took the brunt of it.
Yeah, Josh Sturzer, the tight end, ran into DJ, and then DJ ends up getting the tackle. There's Faison. Snow Junior College, started his career at Marshall. But they've got Robert Brings back, and Devon Booth we've already seen as well.
Yeah, he really had the hot hand last week, and on the touchdown drive where he scored, he accounted for all 57 yards of that drive in the third quarter. That was a key piece of them winning, and there's DJ Schramm, man. I mean, this dude is a warrior, a testament to the sport of football and what this sport requires. He is out there with duct tape, rubber bands, and orange peels, but the team's emotional and physical leader is not going to let this opportunity slip between his fingertips.
And the orange peels go nicely with the Boise colors. Lega looking deep, going deep, again, that's Vaughn, and it's over his head, but he was open, and that's of concern for Spencer Danielson, who's not only the interim head coach, but still the defensive coordinator.
There was some late pressure here in his face. That's Ty Benefield that forced this errant throw, because that is a mismatch right there. Alexander Tubner is a great box safety, but should not be covering Terrell Vaughn down the field one-on-one.
And Danielson told us that with a team that goes fast with all these receivers, it's tough to match up corners on guys specifically with that tempo. Blitz comes, fired to the side. Vaughn with the catch right at the 30 and wrestled down by Tubner, but not before he fights enough to get a first down.
Yeah, because this tempo goes so fast and they don't sub, once you get a matchup you like, you kind of stick with it, and that's what the Aggies are trying to do.
Play action, Lega's looking that way again. Pump fake and slides in at the 36. Benefield's on the stop, that's 5 yards.
Boise State going to a zone look there, trying to play coverage and flood that area, and they did an effective job, which is why Lega had to pull the ball down and use his legs.
Your point about spreading it out, look how far the receiver to the top is out. Look how near to the sideline Jalen Royals is at the bottom of your screen.
So players like this in the overhang position become really important because they have double duty.
On the handoff, this is Booth, and he breaks loose. Booth across midfield. Booth up the side. Veering to the right. He's 20. He's finally caught at the 15-yard line. Devon Booth.
Just missed tackles in the hole. Boom, right there. Shea Oladipo missed one in the hole. Then another one backside by Riley Robinson. And the Aggies are at the front gate. Boise State, Rich, has only given up about 115 yards per game this season. Top 30 in the country, but they're getting themselves gashed here.
49 yards on that play. And this time, Andrew Simpson comes in, makes a play. It's a loss of a yard with Booth on the carry. Approaching a minute left in this first quarter. Our red zone is brought to you by Verizon. National average is 63, and Utah State is right about there.
This is a fair fight here. Neither of these units is particularly strong in this area, so if Boise State can force the field goal, it's a huge 4-point win for them, but the Aggies want to taste pay dirt.
On the mesh, Booth getting outside and hit and dropped. And that's Tubner, who's been pretty darn active already tonight.
Really nice tackle there that time by Tubner. Andrew Simpson on the first play. That second level of Boise's defense getting the job done here on these first 2 downs in this critical area. Like screens, draws, delays here if you're expecting pressure. Now remember, the interim coach, Spencer Danielson, is still calling the defense. Let's see what he dials up here. Pressure.
3rd down 9, Lega's flushed and in trouble, and they bury him at the 17. DJ Schramm cleaned it up. Benefield there as well. And this is going to be a field goal, but probably not until we get to the second quarter.
Yeah, Ty Benefield, number 20, expected to step up and play a big role tonight, and he was the one that flushed him. Beautiful play call that time by Spencer Danielson, and if you're Blake Anderson, you got to be frustrated there.
First quarter in the books. Utah State's defense playing well. You're watching college football. CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Headed towards the second, 7-0 Utah State. Aaron Taylor, this is the best first quarter Utah State has played all year long.
Man, last year against Boise State, they only had 35 yards in their first 6 drives, but look at this tonight so far. They're halfway to 300.
Well, here comes the field goal attempt. Elliot Nimrod is the kicker. Ryan Marks is the holder. Jacob Garcia is the long snapper for the Aggies, and this is a pretty much straight on from 34. And Nimrod's been very accurate this year. Snap good, hold good, kick is right down the middle. And the Aggies with a 10-0 lead to start the second quarter. And moments ago, while we were away, Spencer Danielson with our Brandon Baylor.
Coach, I know you're juggling a lot, but I'm curious. I want to dig into your DC roots. How do you combat some of those big plays there?
Yeah, we just got to play with great eye control, and we got to hit on a double move. We got to do a better job in coverage. Pressure's got to hit. And at the end of the day, with an offense like this that's so tempo, we got to be lined up with great fundamentals and technique. We'll be just fine.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Brandon.
Nice job, Brandon. Aaron, he told us yesterday that he leaned on a lot of the guys he's coached for or coached with, Chris Peterson, Bronco Mendenhall, Dirk Cutter, just for advice on what to expect when he got the job in the interim and had a week to prepare for his debut.
And he said, overwhelmingly, the advice was be yourself, be who you are. And what he told us he needed to do was to get this team back to having fun. And there was a noticeable jolt of energy that went throughout this program, particularly on the defensive side of the football. But energy doesn't win you football games, execution does. And Boise needs to get things going there.
All right, for Taylon Green, remember Maddox Madsen is out for the year. Green hasn't had a lot of help from his receivers, but he himself has not been sharp.
No, he had an overthrow on what had a chance to be a touchdown, and this was an underthrow that had to be on the money to extend those drives, and then just a great job of Anthony Switzer getting him down on the ground. If I'm Bush Hamden, I'm trying to get my running backs involved as much as I can. Take the pressure off Taylon Green, even if that means screens and throwing flare passes out to the perimeter.
Holani, big hole! George Holani, midfield. It's a race. Holani to the 30, gets a blocker. Holani to the house. Touchdown Broncos. 75 yards.
And just like that, the Broncos are back, baby. This is just a gaping hole inside, Rich. This offensive line, in my opinion, is the most improved position group on the team and possibly the entire country, and they just did their job magnificently. And do you think Boise State's better when 24 is healthy?
My goodness. The size of the hole, the acceleration by Holani. We played 17 seconds of football in the second quarter, and we've seen 10 points scored already. George Holani busted loose, and the Broncos draw within 3 on a drizzly night in Logan, Utah. Longest run of George Holani's career brings a smile to the first-time head coach.
Yeah, Bush Hamden doing Bush Hamden things. Watch the effect that the motion has. Utah State over pursues, and what that allows is a completely vacated middle of the defense. This is just a split flow zone, and Holani's out to the races, but that's part of the challenge when you're playing Boise State. They shift trade motion a lot, and you have to be good with your eyes. The Aggies weren't, and Holani made them pay.
I think he's back. I mean, look, he has played in the last few games, but they say he's not quite at 100%. That one into the end zone, and we check in down below with Brandon Baylor. Brandon?
Rich, we talked to Anderson earlier this week. He got some big returns when it comes to his JUCO transfers. Rasul Faison, the running back, and receivers Micah Davis and Jalen Royals. By the way, Royals we just saw paying off here. As for Micah and Jalen, they said, you know, along with Terrell Vaughn, big energy when it comes to that dynamic receiving room that's been paying off. And Faison, let's just say, we saw what he did last week, 181, hoping to make an impact here later today.
All right, thank you, Brandon. First 4 possessions, punt, quick strike touchdown, the 57-yarder to Royals, and then the field goal. And movement, it looked like the center, Balapule Alo.
False start. Number 69 on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
That's a big mistake by a big player who's one of the better linemen on this unit. He's out there with duct tape and rubber bands as well, playing hurt, but he brings some toughness to that position that they're lucky to have out here tonight.
Wait a minute, no orange peels for him? There's Briggs.
Ball's out.
And the ball's loose. Boise State says they have it. And they do. Rodney Robinson. It looked like Braxton Feely who pried it loose.
He was falling to the ground as that ball came out. But who other than DJ Schramm, he gets there first, and then it gets punched out from behind by Braxton Feely. It's a young player that they've wanted to see and get more out of, and forcing turnovers is something that Boise State has struggled with defensively this season. But Feely says, I can't tell, and now you have back-to-back significant plays for the Broncos, who are in scoring position once again.
And the Bronco defense has not forced a lot of turnovers this year. That's just the 12th. Green gonna throw back in the other corner, and it's caught by Lauder. Touchdown, Boise State. How about that play design?
That's the first touchdown by Lauder, the Torrey Pine Falcon, the stud muffin, the pancake maker, and a busted coverage on the backside. Good job by Taylon Green fielding that high snap, and just terrible bad eyes on the back end for the Aggies. And Boise State with another quick score.
And the Broncos grab the lead. Dalmas, the extra point is up and good. 3 big plays in a row. Holani's run, the fumble recovery, and then Taylon Green takes advantage.
Yeah, it's that defense, DJ Schramm and then Braxton Feely creating some opportunities. Taylon Green settling down, finding his tight end, and boy, Spencer Danielson feeling it. That looks like fun.
Utah State had all the momentum coming into the second quarter, and it went up in smoke in about 20 seconds.
Well, it finally took Boise State a little bit to get things going, but with a little eye candy and Holani's speed, they broke the game open with the longest run of his career, a 75-yard touchdown. Rich, but then the defense comes back. DJ Schramm, Braxton Feely does a nice job, and then the tight end leak play to Matt Lauder. Another deception and misdirection, and Boise State now finds himself with a comfortable 4-point lead, and it's the Aggies that need to respond.
The kickoff skips through the end zone. We got 30 seconds have elapsed from this second quarter. First 15 plays, 44 yards. Last 2 plays, their last 2 scoring drives took 19 seconds.
Well, man, you remember the game last year. Both the offenses were scoreless early, and then Boise exploded for 21 points in that second quarter. and eventually led 21-7 at halftime. And you're taking a look at the drizzly Bush Camden there, the former player, and he was noticeably emotional when we talked to him yesterday. He was looking forward to coming home, and now there's some things in question, but he has been locked in here tonight, boy.
Devon Booth hauled down from behind by Ahmed Hassanin after a gain of 2. Now if you're Utah State, your offense, I mean, the Aggies' offense has been terrific aside from the turnover. They dominated the first quarter. Laga rolling, pursued from behind, and is dragged down. That's Ty Benefield on a blitz.
Now, Rich, Boise State usually plays a nickel 4-2 base, but they're playing a lot of dime tonight, and that means that Ty Benefield is that 6th defensive back. They're moving him all around. They're spying him on the quarterback at times, and he's made his presence felt here significantly.
So now this is a long third down and 11. Little inside screen there, that's Vaughn in traffic, and Vaughn weaving his way. I don't know if he got it. I don't think he did. Callahan caught him. It's 10 yards on the gain. He needed 11. What do you do if you're Utah State? Their offense is staying on the field.
They're pretty aggressive, but at this point in the game, you better get this.
This is 4th and inches, and they'll get the first down. That's Booth who busts through. That's a gutsy move. You know, they don't talk about it with tempo, but with tempo, you can set and run something quickly.
Yeah, you can, and it puts a lot of pressure on the players, and now Sheldon Newton is a little bit down, but man, credit Blake Anderson for a really aggressive call there. Second most attempts in the Mountain West, with 22 coming into tonight, 4th down attempts, and that was a big one.
Boy, the Broncos have been beat up on both sides of the ball. They're without Dimitri Washington. Marco Notriani, their leading tackler, is out tonight. And now Sheldon Newton is on his way to the sideline.
Tubner's been banged up. It's been a mash unit up front for that defensive side of the ball. And Notriani was playing for the injured DJ Schramm, who led this team with tackles with 107 a year ago.
It was a bumpy start for Utah State to their season. On the road, they played well at Iowa and lost by 10. They lost to Air Force by 18. Then they had James Madison in here, and it was an absolute shootout, and lost by 7. A 5-point loss to Fresno State. They found themselves in a pretty deep hole. But they have dug out of it at 5-5 and 3-3 in the Mountain West. Laga with time, pumps, and is hit and dropped. Andrew Simpson.
Now he's getting sacks with a cast on that right hand. Look at him. He's just shadowing and mirroring him. And when he sees the back cross his face, it's called a green dog. He triggers. There's nobody there to pick up Simpson in time, and he gets Laga on the ground. Now this defense is starting to hunt, and they've got a really good plan that's frustrating the Aggies.
2nd and 13. Booth doesn't find any room. There's a late hit, but no flag. And that was away from the ball. Herbert Gums made the stop.
Braxton Feely was in there too. That was excellent defensive line play. Completely reset the line of scrimmage, flattens everything out, and then the cavalry can come from that second level.
Gums proud to be part of the Cavalry and the Clydesdales. We haven't seen that package on offense yet from the Broncos.
I think this is going to be a fun night for Boise State. They're going to pull as many rabbits out of the hat as they can.
They're showing blitz here. And another long third down.
Anderson's going to want to talk to his team about this situation because he knows it's critical.
Timeout. Utah State. It's their first of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Of course, college basketball season has started. Tomorrow, the conclusion of this year's Baha Mar Hoops Championship. Consolation game starts with Georgia and Providence at noon. championship game, number 12 Miami and Kansas State at 2:30, right here on CBS Sports Network. Chris Sylvester, Kyle Macy have the call of that one.
Miami's basketball team fared a little bit better than their football team did today.
Yes, they did. They've been faring better for a while. At 3rd down and 13, what do you dial up here?
And you have to expect pressure, but I don't know, looking at this look for Boise State, they may make Laga prove that he can sit back there and throw the football on time, but right now their defensive line is winning. They don't necessarily need the blitz to bring pressure.
They bring an extra man. Laga slips through it and has a lane, has the first down into Bronco territory, and is hit right at the 38-yard line. That's a first down, and they'll go fast. They'll get to the line and snap it quickly. 23 yards on the run.
Well, they did try to bring some pressure, Spencer Danielson did, and there was nowhere for Laga to go, and he's not the mobile, elusive type of quarterback that you think about when you think about a Taylon Green, but he can get up and go when necessary. That was an effective move of the chains with his legs.
With the substitution, Boise State was allowed to substitute as well. That has slowed the tempo. Blitz comes, Laga gets rid of it to the sideline. Probably threw it earlier than he wanted, and Royals wasn't in a position to make the catch.
Yeah, let's go back to that 3rd and long. There was just nowhere for him to go, and Boise State runs a lot of cover 3 or sometimes cover 4, and it becomes pattern match where there's some man principles to it. That's what happened there. The defenders turned their back to the line of scrimmage, and Laga made them pay.
Well, the numbers have flipped first quarter to second quarter. This is an impressive drive by Utah State. And Laga firing, nice throw, nice catch. Micah Davis, ball pops out.
I think he was down though, Rich.
Yeah, the whistle, the officials are going to give him progress to the 25, a gain of 13.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch, forward progress, first down.
Yeah, I think that was a completed catch, and he was down, and Robinson ripped the ball out after he was down, and Shea Oladipo, number 23, just hit the dirt as well, but it's starting to rain a little bit. You wonder if the moisture on the football is starting to affect the ball security for the Aggies.
For an injury on the defense.
Boise State injury defensively, Shea Oladipo, and they're looking at that right leg, ankle, and foot in particular.
Yeah, he's been a heck of a playmaker for this team, 3rd on the year in tackles, and a week ago against New Mexico led the team with 7 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble.
And it looked like his own guy got him. It looked like Tubner coming across the tackle clipped him.
That would be a big, big loss for a secondary that he's a key piece of.
Spencer Danielson surrounded by his defense. It's been a whirlwind week for him. He found out early Sunday morning Andy Avalos had been relieved of the head coaching duties. Danielson elevated to interim coach. He was the interim head coach before, but that was in the off season. He didn't get to coach a game, just handle the program for a little under a month.
Said he had 45 minutes before he had learned that Andy Avalos had been fired, before he was in front of the team addressing the players.
The previous play is under further review.
And this is part of being a head coach, that you know, nothing prepares you for talking to officials, for going through a replay sequence, for monitoring timeouts, and all of the other things you have to do. I think he's down and the ball gets ripped out. I don't think this is going to take very long. Do you?
I didn't think so with the naked eye. The ball is starting to move as he's going down. It's like the fumble process begins, but after his backside is down. So yes, the ball is moving, which it can do, but does he have firm control when he's down before Robinson rips it out is what they're looking at.
See if something hits before the derriere.
Bam, right there he's down. To me, that's a secure catch, and it was a great reaction by Robinson.
Now they'll look at it as long as they need to. The Broncos recovered. Benefield, you can see in that shot, ends up with the football. If you're just joining us, lots at stake here. Both teams 5-5. Bowl game for the winner of this game. And for Boise State, with all they've been through, they are still in the championship game mix. In fact, if they win this game, they play Air Force next week, beat Air Force. They put themselves in a pretty good position. They'll need help from elsewhere. In case you missed it, UNLV with a terrific road win, hung on at the end to beat Air Force. That was the game before us.
What an incredible game that was, and Carter Blackburn and Randy Cross on that call for a huge one with significant ramifications here for the Mountain West Conference Championship. The ruling on the field is a catch and down by contact. So remember, you're going to need clear and definitive view to overturn that. And I just don't think that we have that. I think at worst, this stands on the field as called. But if you're Blake Anderson, you got to be a little bit careful about your receivers and ball security here. Too many times the ball's been on the ground here tonight, starting to drizzle a little bit. It just stopped.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
So the drive continues. Utah State scored the first 10, and in the blink of an eye, the Broncos have put up 14.
If you're the Aggies here, this is as big as this field's going to get. You might think about taking a deep shot here on first down. Try to get a quick tug.
Devon Booth in the backfield. Rajul Faison left the game in the first quarter, has not returned. This is Booth trying to slip through that first level. He does, and cuts back. And Booth outside to the 15, to the 10. What a run with some nice blocks along the way.
Great job by lots of folks staying alive, but most notably Micah Davis as well, because he comes in here right there, bam, and that really's the block that opens it up, that moves the chains.
It's 18 yards, first and goal, just outside the 7.
Boise State with a light box, good run look here.
Play action, flip it up, oh, just over the hands of Micah Davis, who was covered pretty well there. That was Amarian McCoy.
He certainly was.
It's good coverage.
That would have been a heck of a catch, and a couple more inches would have helped Davis there. But he's 5'11", and that ball was thrown to about a 6'3" receiver's height.
And McCoy is a junior, and Danielson told us he's their best covered corner. Blitz comes, Legas looking to run it, and he's in trouble, down he goes. Hassanin in pursuit, and this is going to be 3rd and goal, and it's still at the 7.
Legas took a big pop there by Hassanin, who's going to scrape and do a great job of coming down the line of scrimmage. And you see Legas pop the ground there pretty hard. Hassanin known for his ability to rush the passer, but you got to be really careful. Now remember, Rich, the staff told us that Legas sometimes puts the ball in jeopardy and tries to force things. He just got really lucky there.
Booth in the backfield. 3rd and goal from the 7. Legas, blitz coming, has time, fires, caught there. That's Vaughn. And it's not a touchdown, it's 4th and goal. The official went down, so did Vaughn. Let's see where they mark it.
It's going to be close. It looks like it's going to be 4th and goal from the 1, maybe the 2-yard line. I think Utah State's going to get big here, bring in Josh Sturzer, their other tight end, and go for it. I like this call with the way Boise State's offense has woken up. You got to take advantage of this opportunity while you've got it.
Just inside the 2, 4th and goal. That's a little trick play. That's Vaughn reversing and throwing, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Boise State. Amarian McCoy with the interception. And a 21-yard return. Well, it looked from the start like it was executed perfectly until the throw by Terrell Vaughn.
I like the decision. I hate the play call and the decision to throw that football. Boise was squatting on that play. I agree with you, Rich. It's set up. I thought it was going to be a reverse. Hassanin forces the throw.
This will also be immediate timeout.
And Terrell Vaughn just simply can't throw this football. He does not see the defenders. He doesn't see the whole picture, and that's the risk you take when you try to hit with specials.
Boise State's defense, big play, hanging on to the lead in Logan. Last two meetings, Blake Anderson has tried to match the legacy of trick plays with Boise State, and this one does not work.
Well, you like how aggressive they're going to be. There's number 21 there, Amarian McCoy, but what's going to force this play is Hassanin is going to come in here, right here. And this is going to entice and expedite the throw by Terrell Vaughn, who should not have let that football go. Amarian McCoy makes him pay. They told us he was their best cover corner, and it's another mistake for the Aggies. Can the Broncos take advantage?
Holani again with a big hole. Look at George Holani go up the sideline, pushed out of bounds right at midfield. He had a 75-yard touchdown run, his longest of his career, and he adds on another 29 with this one.
The Aggies are confused on the back end. Their eyes are getting them in trouble. They're running themselves out of the plays, and they're zagging when Boise's zigging and Holani's hitting them.
At the 48. This is Genty. Nice 1-2 punch, right? I mean, Holani and Genty.
A lot of ball clubs in this country would love to have a 1-2 punch like these guys. It's Tafisi, their leading tackler. He's a machine. And he's also pretty tough. Good to see him back up on his feet. Boise Stout running some counter.
That right arm got bent back, and you could see him react.
It's one of the weakest positions, Rich, your shoulder can be in when it's outstretched. That joint is really not very stable. A lot of little muscles underneath those big muscles, and you get in that compromised position, the shoulder can pop in and out of joint. At least that was the case with me and with many offensive linemen. So good to see Tafisi on his feet and going to be tended to on the sideline and hopefully back in there.
Logan Peely, we just saw in his place. Second down and short. Genty, that's a layup for him. Breaking tackles, the nation's leader in broken tackles, and he hasn't even played in all the games at Boise State.
So funny, we were talking to Bush Camden, the offensive coordinator, and they were saying,
Genty off to the sideline, and Holani comes in after him. Holani. Oh, what a move! George Holani, touchdown, Boise State, 33 yards. Wow.
Man, this offensive line is simply taking over. But bam, bam. The open field running of George Holani. He's saying, yeah, Genty may lead the nation in missed tackles, but I got some wiggle too. And boy, this crowd that was so into it early has gone deafeningly silent.
Point up good. 10-0 start for Utah State. All Broncos from that point. And again, the defense sets it up. Amarian McCoy in the end zone. George Holani got there as well. George Holani is close to 160 yards already on the ground. CBS Sports recognizes Native American Heritage Month, a time to honor the culture, traditions, and achievements of the nation's original citizens. 21-10. Boise State on top. And look at the yardage. There's been a lot of offense. Of course, Utah State just drove down the field, got to the doorstep, and turned it over in the end zone.
Yeah, the red zone's really been the big difference maker in this ball game. Credit the Broncos defense for holding firm down there, once forcing a field goal, and of course that big turnover that led to a touchdown.
Line drive kick, Davis. Excuse me, this is Vaughn. And Vaughn to the 20. It's out to the 26-yard line. We check in with Brandon Baylor. Brandon?
Fourth down attempt there by Utah State. Cooper Legas actually went into the tent for a couple of minutes. He came out, then went straight to the locker room, of course. Two trainers carrying his helmet, so still not out for this drive, so we'll see what happens with that. I'll give you an update later in this one.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Yeah, he extended that arm almost as if he was going to throw it at the end of that play when Hassanin planted him. And look, this is a change in quarterback. This is McKay Hillstead, the junior. He's played well this year. Look at the numbers. The interceptions they'd like to cut down, but he threw for almost 400 yards against James Madison and 4 touchdowns in that game.
Problem was he had 3 interceptions in that game as well, to your point, cutting down on those interceptions.
Briggs gets outside for a moment, and Tubner makes another play on the edge. It's a gain of half a yard.
This is a perfectly suited game for Alex Tubner, who's hacking.
Injury, timeout for an injury for an offensive player.
He's having a heck of a night, and now taking a look at Briggs, who's slow to get up and grabbing his shoulder. That's 2 of the 3 running backs that Utah State likes to use that have been banged up here in this first half.
Yeah, Rasul Faizan went down early in the first quarter. And of course, Blake Anderson in our meetings yesterday said, hey, we finally have all 3 of our guys healthy. And Briggs is on his way to the sideline. Anderson in his 3rd year. Mountain West Championship in 2021. They beat San Diego State in the championship game, and then they beat Oregon State in the LA Bowl, or the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, whichever you want to use. But this past offseason, he's had to replace almost half of his roster.
40 players. And their defensive coordinator, Ephraim Banda, went to the NFL a week before spring practice. Been scrambling since.
Hillstead in trouble. Ball's loose, and it's picked up, and the Broncos have it. Herbert Gums. Disaster.
And now Gums is getting up slow. But McKay Hillstead, that's the worst of all possible outcomes, Rich. One of the rules of thumb in football is don't make a bad play worse. He's got to cover the football up with both hands there. He doesn't.
That's Braxton Feely's 2nd forced fumble in this game.
Feely had a half a sack last week. This man is starting to step up and wake up. He's a Utah native, and now we're looking at Herbert Gums, who appears to be in some pain there with the lower leg injury.
Turnovers and points off turnovers. Killing Utah State, fueling Boise State. Last 3 drives have ended in turnovers. One of them in the end zone. Look at Danielson and his emotions.
Well, this defense comes alive, and they've really struggled, to your point, Rich, about forcing turnovers this season. Only 12 coming into tonight's game, but tonight they've been all over it, taking advantage of a Utah State team that's been careless with the football. Danielson said he wanted to get back to having fun, and there's nothing more fun for a defense than that.
And this is Genty, who's a tackle-breaking machine. And he's inside the 20 to the 18. There's your turnovers for Utah State. That ties for their most this season. But they've had trouble holding on to the football. 19 of them coming into play tonight in 10 games.
They're beating Utah State at their own game. The Aggies are the defensive unit that have done an outstanding job this year with takeaways.
It's a great point. Genty outside, racing for the pylon. Genty dragged down at the 1. Jaden Francois got him, and the Broncos are on the doorstep.
But you're going to see Jaden Francois jump inside at the beginning of that run and gave Genty leverage. So Boise State's going to have this ball on the 2-yard line. And I've been so impressed with this offensive line for the Broncos, Rich. I told you about these guys being the most improved position group on this entire team. And this is the situations that they live for.
Genty not going to break that tackle. 2 good hits, 2nd and goal.
Just watching Utah State get themselves out of position. Boom. You saw Jaden Francois in there follow the motion to the other side, gets himself out of position, and then Genty just uses that speed to get to the perimeter. The misdirection and the motion pre-snap is really causing the Aggies some problems.
That fumble by McKay set it all up. Play action, Green fires, caught, another touchdown for Lauder.
Two targets, 2 touchdowns.
Look at Spencer Danielson and Taylon Green. And Boise State has erupted for 4 touchdowns here in the 2nd quarter.
Things are quickly starting to devolve for Blake Anderson, and Boise, to their credit, is absolutely taking advantage of it.
Flag on the kick. 4 minutes left in this 2nd quarter.
Yeah, you did.
Utah State started this game up 10-0.
And, you know, the total yardage is almost even right now. Utah State had that long drive and that interception on 4th and goal.
Delay a game. Number 2 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Retry.
MJ Tafisi, probably with disconcerting signals, is usually what that's an indication of in situations like these. Boise gets to re-kick nonetheless.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Hold on. Utah State and Boise State. Spencer Danielson's on the field, trying to get his players off. Blake Anderson as well. And let's see what happens. Speaking of disconcerting. Oh.
That's 2 punches thrown by Tuiaki. He's going to have to leave this football game. You can't get away with that stuff. It's on tape. And it's getting chippy down there. But you got to hold your composure if you're Utah State.
The result of the play, the PAT is good. After the play, unsportsmanlike, number 48 on the defense. 15 yards will be enforced on the kickoff. 48 is also ejected.
I mean, he can look and say, well, why? But it's pretty evident. You throw 2 punches, especially right in the middle of things.
And it gets chippy down there, Rich, but you're right. You got to be careful right there. He just pushes him over the pile.
And he comes over the 2nd man in.
And then there's a punch, and then bam, another punch there. And man, what a difference a week makes. Tuiaki was the player that had the 63-yard pick 6 for a touchdown last week. And now he's out of here. And unlike a targeting foul where the player gets to stay on the field, Tuiaki's got to go in and take a shower. In addition, Rich, to that 63-yard pick six last week, he also had a personal foul. You love to have your players play with emotion, but not emotional. Right there, Tuiaki played too emotional, and it cost him and his defense big time at a moment where they need their defense to be firm.
So the Broncos will kick it off from midfield. And for the third straight possession, a Utah State turnover leads to a Boise State touchdown.
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're McKay Hillstead, just being careless with the football. He's got a ton of meaningful snaps. But how about Bush Hamden, the OC, man? He has dialed up some plays tonight. Matt Lauder's one of the only healthy tight ends that they have on this team, normally a run-blocking tight end. But because of the injuries in the wide receiver room and the tight end room, Hamden, a former player here, dialing up some junk, and his knuckleball is working.
And now Utah State, whose offense has been piling up yardage, but they cannot avoid turnovers.
You get the ball to start the second half, so getting points out of this drive.
It's Tubner with another play, getting Booth to the ground, 1 yard gain.
Is certainly the goal, and you don't want to go 3 and out here. Boise's got 3 timeouts, and with the way their offense is scoring at will, you got to play offense and a little bit of defense here if you're the Aggies offensively.
Well, this is a guy that they can ill afford to lose. It's Devon Booth, and as we've noted, he's the third running back to leave with an injury. Jalen Royals with the catch along the sideline.
And this running back room has been banged up, man. All 3 of their running backs came into this game relatively healthy, and all 3 have left this game with some sort of boo-boo.
First one to leave is back in. Rashul Faison went out early first quarter. This is a 3rd down and 4. Hillstead.
Timeout, Utah State.
And a timeout, Utah State.
It's their second and a half.
28-10 Broncos. Boise State on top of Utah State. With UNLV's win and that nail biter at Air Force. UNLV 6-1. The Broncos would have been helped more by an Air Force win, but it still doesn't eliminate them from a spot in the championship game. They obviously have to win 2 games. And if they play like they have here in the second quarter, they're going to get it. McKay's in trouble, and he's sacked hard. Hassani. That's 10 on the season.
This Boise State front seven's just clean, getting after it. Great job bringing Shea Oladipo off that outside edge. McKay Hillstead had nowhere to throw the football. He had to pull the football down, and by the time that he did, the rush got there. That's an outstanding job of getting off the field for Boise State, who's got another opportunity here to score.
For catch called for. Helani makes this one at the 33-yard line. What a big day in college football. And with all the highlights, the Verizon halftime report, Brent Stover, Kevin Carter, Beatty Wells. And it's all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Highlights of this one. Certainly some highlights from UNLV's win at Air Force. Taylon Green did not get off to a great start in this one, but he has settled in. It seems like he's really in sync with Bush Hamden, his offensive coordinator, because his last 4 drives have been money. Holani out to the 40. That's a gain of 6. Boise State has all of their timeouts. 2:20 left. Target line for Dalmas is the 35-yard line.
This is an opportunity that the Broncos obviously want to take advantage of. Utah State does get the ball back to start the second half, so this last possession in their minds is important.
Kalani again, and this time he's captured. Right at the point of attack. That's Bo Maile.
That's
be a third down, and we'll step aside for 30.
Utah State, it's their third and final of the half.
That's the Boise Fred Flintstone, I believe. And he's pretty happy about this second quarter. It was 10-0 Utah State. After that first snap of the second quarter, it was a field goal. All Broncos since then. The defense forcing 3 turnovers, the offense scoring 4 touchdowns. No timeouts left for Utah State. 3rd and 7 for the Broncos. Green, little flit. Oh, Holani's got a lot of room out there. Cuts through a tackle, gets bounced at the 45. He cut inside. It seemed like outside he had a lane, but he knows what he's doing. He gets the first down. Clock stops. They move the chains.
Yeah, Anthony Switzer was in hot pursuit. I thought he had a shot right there, but boom, Holani makes him overrun it, and the cavalry gets there too late.
Clock moving now, 1.5 minutes left. Holani again inside Utah State territory. Let's see where they mark it. They're going to mark it right at the 50.
Your Boise State, you have all 3 timeouts. Time is not a factor here at midfield. You have to operate with a sense of urgency, but you don't want to get your young quarterback nervous. Let him calm down, but we're already at 25 seconds. They got to be a little bit more efficient here, getting the play off.
2nd and 5. Genty is in. Genty has a hole, and Genty wheels across the 40 down to the 38-yard line. Devin Dye made the stop. Clock stops, they move the chains.
Yeah, this is just another counter scheme where you pull a backside tackle and tight end at the point of attack with double teams, and Utah State has been powerless to stop that scheme all evening.
They are rotating on this series, Holani and Genty. Good luck,
man,
if you're Utah State. That's 2 great running backs. Holani called down from behind inside the 35. Now there's the timeout. Spencer Danielson racing into the field to get that timeout. Dalmas warming up, 36 seconds left. First half in Logan.
First of the half, 30 seconds.
Jonah Dalmas, one of the greatest place kickers in Mountain West history. He's got the Boise State record. He's 8 shy of Brandon Talton's Mountain West record. Talton kicked for Nevada. He is the career leader in percentage. Taylor Green in the offense, they're not thinking 3 right now. They want to stick it in the end zone and finish what has been a fabulous second quarter.
Yeah, they've got an opportunity to take some shots, but you can't take a sack here and burn a timeout and lose yardage.
Green flush, gets through the rush to the 30. Oh, started his slide. He was still hit. I don't know that he was enough into his slide to draw a flag. And Larson coming off the field. We'll step aside.
Boise State, it's their second.
Wobbly start, but Taylor Green has been outstanding since. Let's watch the end of this play.
Good protection up front. He decides to bail. You'd love to get him out of bounds there.
I think Utah State's fortunate they didn't get a flag.
I agree with you there.
3rd down short, 3rd down and 2. Genty in the backfield. Genty with the ball. And Genty has the first down inside the 25. Clock stops, chains move, 22 seconds left. Boise has a timeout. Gotta hurry here.
Yep, looks like they're gonna clock it. They've still got an opportunity to take some shots at the end zone. Slowing down the operation, you assume 5 seconds per play, but that exchange right there wasn't clean. Genty initially bobbled that football. Had there been a little bit more penetration there by the Aggies, that ball could have hit the ground. And that's what you're trying to weigh as a coaching staff when you're calling plays here at the end of the half.
2nd down, 10. Green looking backside, fires incomplete. He had Strawn and Bowens out on that pattern. 3rd down, 13 seconds left. So you could take another shot here. And then if nothing happens, you're in a great spot for a field goal. Yeah,
and you don't have to necessarily throw the football because you have a timeout. So you can run a screen. You can empty things out and try to hit a play with Taylor Green's legs running a draw. Bush Hamden has a completely wide open call sheet here, but the goal is to get this football in the end zone.
Genty, and Green's going to settle right between the hash marks, take a knee, and they'll take a leisurely stroll out with the field goal unit and call the timeout there.
Nice job working the clock there for the rookie head coach.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of mechanics and administrative stuff that when a coordinator takes over as a head coach.
Boise State, it's their 3rd and final of the half. This will be a 1-minute timeout.
I mean, you don't know until you know.
Man, we asked him what it was like. He's like, man, I had 45 minutes before I was in front of the players and had to think quickly on my feet.
And the one thing that stood out in our meeting and when he talked to us about making this transition, he said the most important thing for him is having the attitude that you need the humility to know what you don't know. And that's why he reached out to some of the other head coaches, guys like Dirk Cutter and Chris Peterson, and even a Bronco Mendenhall. Because everybody, all those guys made that same transition. They didn't necessarily make it, in half an hour like he did.
But you see that smile, you see the positivity, you see the energy. That's who he is. That's Spencer Danielson, so that's been infectious over the entire team. And I got to tell you, Rich, through 2 quarters, it seems to have worked beautifully.
From 44, right down the middle. Dalmas wanders to the right, but gets through. And the Broncos and their brand new head coach are going to head to the locker room with a lot of emotion and a lot of momentum.
Of the 2nd quarter.
A dominant 2nd quarter for the Broncos and a 31-10 halftime lead after the break. Brent Stover and the gang in New York. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Back in Logan, our Kubota first half stats. 31-10, Boise State on top of Utah State. 3 turnovers by Utah State, 21 points by Boise State. Rich Waltz along with Aaron Taylor. Brandon Baylor will join us shortly. This game is simple. Hold on to this because Utah State unable to do that in the first half.
And Boise State took advantage of it. Rich, I don't know if I've ever seen a game turn as quickly as this one did here in the first half. 5 straight scoring drives by Boise State, and they exploded in the 2nd quarter, and it started with defense and forcing those turnovers. The interception there in the end zone after they had forced a field goal, and then the backup quarterback coming in, putting it down on the ground, and then Halani taking over and does what he does best, Rich. This offense has now rushed for more than 200 yards in 5 of the last 6 games, and there doesn't look to be any stopping the Broncos on the ground tonight.
Taylor Green really settled in. Blake Anderson shrugging his shoulders. The turnovers just killing them right now.
And Blake Anderson, you're hoping to get a spark play, you get this ball back. You got to dial something else up from McCray Hillstead, get him some comfort throws so that this offense can do what it does best. They still have a mismatch against Boise State secondary. They have to find a way to take advantage of it.
31-10, Boise State on top. Let's go to Brandon Baylor. Brandon?
Yeah, Rich, I had a chance to speak to Blake Anderson coming out in the half, and he reminded me about Cooper Legal. Of course, we saw him going in and did not come back out. He is out the remainder game dealing with a shoulder injury, so it will be the McKay show. When it comes to their running backs, he said they're a little banged up, but they're going to give it a go. Outside of that, he said they need to eliminate those mistakes that we see in the first half. That cannot translate over the next 2 quarter, guys.
I mean, they are on pace to run up 470 yards of total offense, but they're down 31-10. Booth with the handoff. Broncos, DJ Schramm got a piece.
Shortest distance between 2 points for a linebacker's instincts. But take a look at the domination for Boise State defensively. They have absolutely stifled this Aggie offense.
Trying to go fast. Hillstead throws, almost picked. Oh, goodness. Benefield in coverage, and that was right at him.
Benefield is one of the benefactors of playing more of a dime look. Nickel is with 5 defensive backs. Dime is with the 6. Benefield's been that 6, and they've used him in the secondary. They use him on the line of scrimmage and at the linebacker level.
Quickly, it's 3rd down and 11. That throw in traffic is caught by Davis, but he's well short of the 1st down. And sometimes the problem is when you go fast and you don't get 1st downs, you give the ball up right away.
And a great start by Boise State to force a 3-and-out to open the second half with another almost turnover. I think this is a smart decision here to punt this ball away. And you're just hoping that your defensive coordinator, Joe Calvin, can come up with something and have a little bit more success to start this second half than your offense just did.
Holani with a fair catch at the 28. All right, report card for Taylor Green in the 1st half.
Well, he started out a little bit slow, right? 0 for 3. Overthrew a wide open receiver in Austin Bolt, but then he started to settle himself down. After that sack, he was able to set his feet, and he found Matt Lauder on his first of 2 touchdowns through the air in that 1st half. And man, he really seems to have found his rhythm. But most importantly, Rich, he hasn't put the ball in jeopardy tonight. And when you can rely on your quarterback to protect the pigskin, you're in business. But the stars, really, these guys up here, man, this offensive line has been masterful this year.
Green, setting, looking, crossing pattern, deflected and incomplete. That was Austin Bolt in the pattern, and Utah State had it covered.
Man, that was a pretty aggressive play call there on 1st down, but something they like to do. But Anthony Switzer got his hand on the football, and it was a little bit behind Austin Bolt. On a route like that with tight coverage, you have to put the ball in front of the receiver so that that doesn't happen.
2nd and 10. Oh, Holani bounces off that tackle. That was MJ Tafisi, the best tackler in the Mountain West. And he had a clean look at him.
But he didn't wrap up, and this is what Holani does. Bam, he's right there, but you see, he doesn't wrap up. Now remember, he had that arm injury, so you wonder whether or not he had the strength. But a lot of times when a linebacker gets there that quickly, they think the back's going to go down. Not with Holani.
3rd down and 3.
Now they've been attacking the dive. This is a great opportunity for Taylor Green to possibly keep it. You want to keep him healthy, but the way that they're crashing on the backside, his legs may help you.
Matt Wagner is in 2 tight end look. Green rolling, looking, throwing, caught there. That's Strawn, and the big kid gets those legs rolling. Strawn inside the 35 and down to the 32. Devin Dye with the stop.
He's got those long legs and those long strides, and a big reason why he had over 100 yards receiving. But it's the yards after the catch that have the coaches really excited about what 17 brings to the table.
Utah State is known for their explosive plays. They've had a few.
Look at this inverted wishbone.
Boise State has had a lot. Crow leads Genty, spinning off a hit and falling forward for a 9-yard gain to the 24. Since 2015, they haven't had a 2nd quarter like they've had tonight.
Man, they exploded. This is 2 years in a row in this game that Boise State has done that. A season ago, it was 21 points, and they said, man, hold my beer. Bush Hamden and company's not done.
Green pulls it, a lot of room. Taylor Green to the 12. Good open field tackle there by Ike Larson. That's a first down.
Yeah, Bush Hamden saw what I saw, and that's them crashing on the backside. Somebody's got to be able to hold that. If the Tafisi's job is to set the edge on that defense on a gap exchange, he's got to get there. But if you don't do what you need to do against Taylor Green, he'll make you hurt, especially in the Verizon red zone.
62% the average, and they are above that at 72. Genty darting, Genty lunging inside the 5. It's a gain of about 7. Tafisi made the stop.
Talking to Bush Hamden yesterday in our meeting with Richard, remember, he's like, yeah, Ashton was out there in practice. We'll think we'll let him go. The problem with him is that there's no medium. There's no easing him back in. With the type of runner he is, he's either full go or not. And tonight, clearly, he's been full go.
And it's been a lot of creative play calling by Hamden tonight. Remember, they've got a diminished wide receiver core. He's found Matt Lauder wide open a couple times for touchdowns.
Brilliant.
2nd and 4. Genty, a burst. Genty, a touchdown. Ball is loose. Genty is in, and the Broncos just keep rolling.
Pretty academic, this offensive line again. Run and counter, pulling the backside tight end, Matt Wagner. Just great double teams at the point of attack, and Boise's impressive night on the ground continues.
I mean, Holani's got 165 yards. Genty on 12 carries is at 85 yards.
Rich, this is now the best rushing output of the season with 268 rushing yards.
Ashton Genty is back. He and George Holani, the 1-2 punch. And right now they are knocking out Utah State.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Principal, helping you plan, protect, invest, and retire. And by the U.S. Army, be all you can be.
That's the last time Utah State beat Boise State. 7 straight losses for Utah State. And the Broncos have won 19 of the last 20. And it feels like this is going to be 8 in a row and 20 of the last 21 unless something changes drastically. What a performance from the start of the second quarter on by the Broncos. And of course, 1 weekend left in the Mountain West, and there's still not a lot settled. There was a fascinating and a really fun game before us. Air Force at home couldn't hold on. UNLV wins it. They're 6-1. Fresno State sits at 4-2. Remember, they beat Boise State. San Jose State is 4-2. Boise State beat San Jose State.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen this last week, but big credit to those 5 teams for keeping themselves alive, including the one that we have on the field in front of us.
And of course, the Broncos get Air Force, who've now lost, what, 3 in a row?
Yeah, something's happened there. They played very inspired at home today. Credit Barry Odom's squad, man. They found a way to get it done late. It's been quite the turnaround for the Rebels.
Hillstead in trouble, going into a slide that started all the way back at the 26, so this is only going to be a gain of 1.
Yeah, they've got to find something to get Hillstead into a rhythm. They're struggling to run the football inside. Boise State's defensive line is taking advantage of them. The biggest mismatch they have is on the perimeter. They just haven't been able to get the ball out there.
Oof. Good play there. Ty Benefield's had some big moments in this one. Rashul Faison going to lose yardage.
Tell you what, between Benefield and Tubner, man, these guys are having heck of a game. DJ Schramm, we haven't called his name a lot, but he's been mucking things up on the inside and playing as hurt as he is. This defense is just better when 52's on the field.
Hillstead escapes, fires, it's caught, and that should be a first down. That's a heck of a throw and catch by Micah Davis.
That play had disaster written all over it. At first, I thought he was going to get sacked, and then I thought he was throwing the football into too tight a coverage, and he does, but the ball's on the money, and it moves the sticks.
Hillstead fires up the seam, and it's intercepted. Another turnover. That's Rodney Robinson.
That's Robinson's first interception of the season. Hillstead stared the receivers down, allowing Robinson to be able to get over there. And on a night when Utah State was playing for bowl eligibility, it's been the Broncos getting themselves up off the mat. Another turnover on a night filled with them. Welcome back to Logan, where another turnover by this Utah State offense and the quarterback Hillstead. See right here, he's staring down his receiver. What he thinks he has is a one-on-one, but what he doesn't see is that Robinson is there. He throws the football in the in-breaking route thinking it's going to be a big play, having no idea Robinson was playing center field, and came up with the fourth turnover of the evening for the Aggies.
And it's a Bronco defense, as we've talked about, that had caused only 11 turnovers in 10 games coming in. Genty. And Genty is down to the 32. Let's head to New York. Brent Stover. Brent?
Rich, Aaron, as you know, huge one of the Pac-12 tonight. Final minute first half. Michael Penix only 8 of 19, but unloads for Rome Odunze. 32-yard touchdown at the break. Washington leads 22-10 at Oregon State, guys.
All right, thank you, Brent. Here, bowl eligibility at stake. That's one thing. Both teams are 5-5, but Boise State is playing to stay in the Mountain West Championship race. George Holani to the 33-yard line. They're going to need help, but they certainly have helped themselves tonight. And they'll finish with Air Force next Friday on the blue.
And when you're Spencer Danielson, you control the controllables. In that meeting that he had with the players, he said, everybody get your playbook out. I want you to write down one phrase, 2 weeks. Just lock in and give me your attention for 2 weeks. And boy, have they responded.
This is a free play and an incomplete pass. Looked like Utah State jumped offside.
There's so much that happens.
Offside. Number 18 on the defense was in the neutral zone at the snap. 5 yards from the previous spot. Still third down.
There's so much that happens with coaching changes, and you see there at the bottom of the screen another ill-advised penalty, making it a 3rd and short now here for Spencer Danielson's team. But he was able to get their attention. They've been sharp here tonight.
It's been a run-heavy attack, and why not? With George Holani, well over 100 yards, and Ashton Genty getting close to that. And Holani, the intended receiver, not sure he saw that throw cleanly. And so Utah State with a stop, they'll get the football back. They're explosive, but so far tonight, that Bronco defense has been outstanding.
Blake Anderson just hasn't been able to get anything going offensively for the Aggies, and credit the Utah State defense there. That's the best they've looked in multiple series here to get themselves off the field.
Larson almost blocked a punt in the first half. He's number 6. Ooh. Oh, and they get the punt there. That one is shanked, although it does get a good Boise State roll, and it rolls into and out of bounds at the 38-yard line in Utah State territory. Kyrese Rowan looked like he got in and maybe got a hand on it. Aggies with a football when we get back.
Keep track of today's upsets? Just tell Siri. Show me college football scores.
Busy day in college football, busy night as well. College football playoff top 10 this week. You just saw the update from New York, Washington, a 22-10 lead over number 11, Oregon. State, and Oregon took care of Arizona State.
Yeah, take a look at number 10, Louisville down there, clinched their berth to the ACC championship with that impressive victory over Miami.
Utah State trying to create some offense, and this is not going to help. That's Vaughn coming around the end, and he's run down by DJ Schramm.
Another player down for Boise State defensively.
Timeout for an injury on the defense.
It's Braxton Feely, who has caused 2 of the turnovers, 2 forced fumbles.
He's been really disruptive in the interior of that defensive line. Boise State enjoying quite the advantage on both lines of scrimmage tonight. He gets triple teamed there, actually. Takes up 3 different blockers so that the rest of his teammates could get there. And looks like he got tangled up a bit. Eric Chenander, the assistant head coach and the defensive line coach. This whole staff on this side of the ball has done a remarkable job tonight getting everybody ready. Because they've had to battle this all season long at key positions along the defensive line on both sides of the football, really. And it hasn't been a perfect year and certainly fell short of what the expectation is in Boise, Idaho. But man, you can never question this team's heart and how hard they play. There's good players on here, there's good coaches on here, and they have absolutely played a pretty remarkable game here through 3 quarters. And now it's time to see if Utah State can do the same. Craig Hillstead started the year as a starter before leaving with injuries. He's had some brilliant moments. They need for him to get hot here now.
Royals on a screen, stays on his feet, slips the tackle, has the first down, and gets to midfield. Let's see if they go tempo here. Gums made the stop.
And that's exactly what you need in this offense is that first down. They want to get this ball snapped before Gums gets his hand down. They made substitutions there which slowed the operation down.
Hillstead fires, low throw, incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like he bobbled that there, and that ball was a little bit late in addition to being low.
It's Josh Sturzer, the tight end. Oh, that should have been a catch.
It's good tight coverage. Akanoe Kaniho there. But that ball had a chance, and now you're just a regular offense here going slow. You lose a significant part of your advantage with tempo because of this slow operation.
Nice throw there. That's Royals with the catch, and he's caught from behind by Clark. And a positive play for Utah State down to the 31-yard line.
Beautiful run-pass option that fooled all of Boise's linebackers and me up here. Great play fake on the background. The offensive line doing their job, and now they're humming.
Hillstead setting, scrambling, flag down, and he throws it away. It's incomplete. This feels like a hold.
Holding, number 79 on the offense. 10 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
That's Wade Meacham right here, number 79 there, the left guard. Second week in a row he's had a holding call. It's tough with a lot of athleticism out there with Ahmed Hassanin. Tough for a guard who's used to some bigger bodies to have to block that athleticism out there on the edge with the play fake.
And those numbers are holding true to form. Boise State, one of the least penalized teams in the country, whereas Utah State is on the other end of that spectrum.
They cleaned the operation up significantly from last week, though.
Briggs got on a first down and long. Gets to the 37-yard line. There's still a lot of time, but the Broncos with a commanding lead right now after Utah State jumped to a 10-0 start.
Yeah, a lot's going to have to go right for Utah State to dip into this 4-touchdown lead that Boise State's got, but they're on the plus side of the 50.
Hillstead for Royals, and he reached back but couldn't get it. The coverage there, looks like Jalen Clark.
Yeah, I love Jalen Clark signaling, hey, look what I did. Had that ball been thrown inside, it would have been a touchdown. Hillstead was moving, so it wasn't as accurate as it needed to be. If he could have put more air underneath it and inside, that would have been a touchdown because Jalen Royals had a good 2 or 3 steps on Jalen Clark.
Crowd saw the replay. They wanted a flag.
I love DBs, man.
Yeah, Jalen Clark enjoying the noise. Blitz comes. Hillstead, he's in trouble here. Gets to the outside and is upended. And a flag is down back near the line of scrimmage. Amari McCoy, who had one of the biggest plays of this game, that interception in the end zone on the 4th and goal from the 2.
And I'm not so sure that this wasn't a designed draw.
Holding, number 62 on the offense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play, 4th down.
Alo Alihi Maui.
Nice job there, partner. But not so much for Utah State up front with another penalty, which negated a pretty dang good drive and a couple explosive plays. Blake Anderson's unit just struggling to find a rhythm, and the Broncos are having a lot to do with that.
Well, they're going to punt this football. Had they tried to kick it, it would have been about a 57-yarder. And this is at 4th and 18 is not fake punt territory.
Yeah, and they're punt safe anyway.
That one is into the end zone. Out to the 20. Broncos rolling here, and Logan Taylor Green and his mates up 38-10. 38-10. Boise State on top. Our Geico difference makers tonight. Ty Benefield's been in a lot of places and made some plays.
They've used him on all 3 different levels. He's making tackles. He's rushing the quarterback. But so is George Helani, man. Look at the impact that he's had with his 166 rush yards. That's a season high for him, along with a couple of touchdowns. And this has been a position that's been hurt all season. Helani's been in and out. He left in the first game against Washington, but he's finally healthy. And, man, didn't make any waste of time showing you his talent and what he can do when healthy.
Still 5.5 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Pitch to Holani. And Holani slips a couple tackles out to the 40, all the way to the 44-yard line. That's a 24-yard carry.
That's that same formation and same play that they ran earlier, just to the right side here, where Lauder ends up being the lead backer and kicking out. And there's just pancakes left and right, man. And you're not going to arm tackle 24. You got to get multiple defenders to the ball to get him on the ground.
Broncos have run for 293 yards tonight already.
Season high by a lot. The previous season high was 262 against San Jose State in that victory.
Well, let's adjust that to like 287 after that carry. As Helani, a rare loss of yardage. Look, this is for the Broncos. They've lost a lot on the outside when McAllister left the program. And, of course, Cobbs is out for the season with the leg injury. And remember, at the start of the year, they lost Latrell Caples as well, who had 51 catches last year.
Might be a draw here out of the empty set.
Blitz comes. Quick throw there. That's Caden Dudley. And he's upended. And a good play by M.J. Tafisi.
And Dudley's one of those players that's been getting some more role and playing time because of those injuries to the wide receiver room. Ran a fly sweep last week, and man, they're just out here trying to make stuff up in the dirt for the most part. They've got a lot of new faces there, and I'm really impressed with the way that Bush Hamden and the rest of this staff has found ways to be productive, considering all the things they had to work around tonight on the perimeter.
And remember, they're without their starting tight end, Riley Smith, as well. That's a big loss. Green in some trouble, and he had to throw it earlier than he wanted. Bolt was still in his pattern and had not made his cut when it was released.
Now I'll say this, Any series that ends in a kick, Rich, is a positive one. And if you're Boise State and you're Bush Hamden, you like the fact that Taylon Green threw that ball away, essentially. Didn't try to get cute and get greedy. Throw the football away and punt the ball here. Your defense is playing outstanding tonight. Taylon Green's done a remarkable job of taking care of the football one way or the other.
Davis going to return this. Couple moves, and he's knocked out at the 8-yard line. Time now for Worth a Watch, brought to you by Principal. And this is definitely worth a watch. This is Amarian McCoy on a trick play with a pick in the end zone. This was somewhat of a game turner, because they would turn this into 7, and obviously Utah State wanted to get 7. That's Worth a Watch, brought to you by Principal.
Yeah, Amarian McCoy. Coaches told us, Spencer Danielson, that he's their best cover cornerback. Got smoked for a 58-yard go route touchdown in the top of the second quarter last week. The plays like that in the end zone tend to make you forget about that stuff. DBs have short memories anyway.
They have to. In his end zone. Oh, now look, we saw a crucial call in the Maryland-Michigan game of grounding in the end zone. And it was in the direction of the receiver in that game, but it was about 10 yards short, and it was ruled a safety. If this is grounding, that's a safety, because he's in the end zone when he threw it.
That's what the officials were just discussing.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Eligible receiver number 4 was in the area.
And I think Spencer Danielson is telling the official, didn't you watch the Maryland-Michigan game?
Well, you bring up a great point, because we had this conversation. That was a good 10, 12 yards away from the wide receiver. That was further away than we saw in that game you just mentioned.
That's almost the same play, and this is a bust loose play. That is Booth, and he's caught right about the 45-yard line.
Right here, Boise just gets a little greedy, and they try to blitz. And when you blitz yourself out of the gaps. It was the right play call against that defense, and the Aggies hit it right, and they needed that one.
Into Boise State territory. I thought Booth was going to go the distance. It almost looked like he pulled up a bit.
Man, he's had a 100-yard night. Jalen Royals has had a 100-yard night.
Hillstead going deep, and there's nobody there. The official was open. Micah Davis in the pattern. 2nd down and 10.
You just don't see a lot of rhythm right now with Blake Anderson's offense. McKay Hillstead, when he wants to throw the football, the routes aren't there, then he has to pull it down. Several times we've seen him do that. They've got to get themselves in some quick throws and some rhythm.
Hillstead, pocket collapses, and so does he. He's trying to hold on to the ball. Did it come out? It's still loose, it looks like. Question is, was he down?
The runner's forward progress was stopped. 3rd down.
We've seen this 3 or 4 times this year. Once the forward progress is stopped, if he's on his way down, going backwards, and the ball comes out, it's not a fumble.
Yeah, and his legs were caught up in there.
Injury for an offensive player.
You see his legs are tied up. That's why he's letting go of the football. He's twisted up there pretty good and hasn't gotten himself up.
Well, the guy's out of the game. The number 3 quarterback is Levi Williams, who has experience both here and at Wyoming. And that's Williams, who walked tonight, so to speak, on senior night.
That was a scary moment there for Hillstead. I've been in those piles, Rich. It's rare that a quarterback's there, but you see your whole life flash before your eyes when you're unable to stop the position and the speed and the intensity with you're falling, and your limbs are kind of locked in behind you. So now it's Levi Williams' opportunity to come in here, and you see what he's done over his career. He's got some mobility to him, but they need an arm right now much more than they need a mobile quarterback unless he can take it to the house.
Well, Levi Williams may have the best arm of the group in terms of strength. And he walks into a 3rd down and 12 situation.
Man, maybe call a draw something high percentage here. Don't make him have to make a bunch of reads or a tough throw.
They will blitz him. Schramm is coming. Williams throws, caught, but that's going to be a gain of maybe 4 by Terrell Vaughn. 4th down. Let's see if they go for it. It's we still got 2 minutes left in this 3rd quarter, and the punt team is coming on.
They're going to try to play some defense here with only a minute or so to go. You're down 4 touchdowns. This is probably the last time Utah State can afford to punt the football if they want to get themselves back in this game. Their defense did just get a stop. They hope they can do that again. But you can't trade punts with the Broncos if you want to get yourself an opportunity to win this one tonight.
And since that one is in the end zone, the exchange of yardage isn't great. Mount West standings, top 7. Hope you had a chance to watch on our air. The Air Force UNLV game came down to the end. Air Force had a 4th and goal at the gun and missed on a throw from inside the 10. Fresno State's schedule is not as ambitious, say, as Boise State's and Spencer Danielson. They've got Air Force next week. This road game against Utah State was pretty tricky. You know, Utah State's played better middle to second half of the season. And of course, San Jose State, we saw last week, they look terrific.
You look at the first half of their schedule, and it was murderer's row, and they struggled. But what we've watched them do over these last 4 weeks has been remarkable. They've won 4 straight. They're playing great defense. They're running the football well, and that's been the big key for the Spartans.
Green and Yanwu, and a gain of 6. And if you're just happening by, Boise State, of course, without Maddox Madsen, injured in the win over New Mexico. It's been Taylon Green tonight. Little wobble at the start, but he's run the team extremely well. He's hit on a couple of touchdown passes. Jambres Dubar getting his first touch for 2 yards.
Yeah, Dubar almost went for 100 yards a week ago against New Mexico. Had 15 carries, 91 yards. Averaged over 6 yards per carry. And man, untalented running backs is not the case in Boise, man. They just keep churning them out. And they've needed to because, again, we mentioned it multiple times tonight, the injuries at that position have been seismic, but not something they haven't been able to overcome.
Dubar, Matt Wagner in the game as a 2nd tight end. Devin Dye made the stop for Utah State. It was a dominant 2nd quarter for Boise State, and in the 3rd quarter, they held serve. And the Broncos, a week after a coaching change, have been impressive tonight in Logan, Utah. Headed to the 4th, you're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Utah State played their best 1st quarter of the year, and then Boise State played their best 2nd quarter of the year. It's 38-10. Let's go down to Brandon Baylor.
Yeah, Rich, I had a chance to listen into the huddle before we get to this quarter. Blake Anderson trying to find a spark with his guys and fire them up a little bit. Tell them, give me everything you got. This is the 4th quarter. Don't look at the scoreboard. Give me everything you got. Of course, looking for something down 28 here, guys.
All right, thank you, Brandon. So 38-10, 15 minutes to go. All Taylon Green. I think we've seen, what, 4 different running backs carry the football. Uh-oh, that was supposed to be either a handoff or a pitch, and it was neither. And Holani ends up falling on it. That's the first real mistake we've seen with the mechanics in the backfield.
Yeah, and this is what you have to be careful. That was just a clean pitch that wasn't handled. You can ill afford to be careless with the football like Utah State was. Just a little bit of mustard. The timing there seemed off. I don't know if that was on 10 or 24 or a combination of the 2, but we've seen some errant snaps tonight. And whatever it was, that operation wasn't clean.
Green pulls and then gets stopped after 2 yards. Tafisi with the tackle. Uh-oh. Taylon Green is on his way to the sideline. They are razor thin at quarterback. C.J. Tiller, a true freshman out of Gilbert, Arizona, is next up.
And this is the risk that you run with the quarterback. We have seen a couple times Bush Hamden called some zone read stuff in the end, crashing down, which leaves the outside, but this is the risk you run. And this is something he told us he was uberly aware of. We have to run Taylon at times because of how athletic he is, but we can't afford to get him hurt.
And so Colt Fulton actually comes in. C.J. Tiller listed as second on the depth charts, and we were told he would be number 2. But it's Fulton, whose shining moment this year was throwing a touchdown on a fake field goal.
He better turn around and hand this ball to Dubars or run it himself.
That is Dubar, and gets across the 25 out to the 28. And the Broncos are going to have to punt. We'll keep our eye on the sideline at Taylon Green.
Well, credit the Aggies defense. This is a couple drives now in a row where they've won their matchup. They've settled themselves down. And Boise State has to be careful to not relax too much. Yes, you've got a 4-touchdown lead, but this is a Utah State team that A, can hurt you with special teams, and B, has already proven it can be explosive.
Ferguson Reynolds, flags are down, line drive kick. Davis at the 24, and Davis is on his way to the sideline, stops, starts, reverses, and then is thrown down at the 31. But there's a flag back at the 26-yard line of Boise State.
Illegal formation, more than 4 players in the backfield on a kicking team. That penalty will be enforced on the succeeding spot. First down, Utah State. This will also be immediate timeout.
Yeah, what he said. Back after this.
Keep track of today's upsets? Just tell Siri. Show me college football scores.
Logan, Utah tonight, 38-10. It actually feels like it's warmer now than it was about noon today when it started to rain and there was a little bit of freeze and a few snowflakes that came down. A little warmer, had some rain in the game. But here we are in the fourth quarter, 12.5 minutes left. The Broncos, after falling behind 10-0, have just dominated this game with their offense and their defense. And the third quarterback of the night for Utah State, back in Levi Williams. Williams not as mobile as Lega or even Hillstead, but at 6'5", 230, he's got a big arm. Started his career at Wyoming.
He's got some good legs too, and Boise really crashed on that. Don't be surprised if you see 16 pull it and run it himself.
He's a powerful runner with his size. There he goes. Oh, that's a slide and a hit. That's a flag. That's multiple flags. Andrew Simpson with the hit. Once you start that slide, and it could be 2 different things here, right? It could be a personal foul, the hit on the slide, or it could be targeting. Yeah,
you see Brock Lane, the tight end, was over there not happy with Andrew Simpson, but that looked to be a bang-bang play and not dirty by Simpson. Definitely a penalty, but I don't think that was dirty. That was just Simpson being a football player. I love Brock Lane, the tight end, going to his quarterback's defense, and man, he might have to. I don't know if there's anybody else in that room after 16.
I would suspect the booth is looking for targeting right now. They're able to initiate that themselves.
After the play, personal foul, targeting, number 10 on the defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
And that's a good call there when the quarterback starts to give himself up.
It was a late hit with targeting. Previous play is under review.
I don't know on targeting when our first look at it.
So the player, the ball carrier, becomes defenseless when the quarterback begins his slide. He's giving himself up, but I agree with you. It's got to be forcible contact to the head or neck area.
And it doesn't have to come from the crown of the helmet. If you go shoulder to head, that's targeting as well.
So I don't think that qualifies underneath that case. The top of his shoulder cap hit the face mask, but it didn't seem to be forcible there. Now that big old right club he's got on his right hand, but he's even using that to wrap up. This isn't a launch. This isn't a drop of the head. None of the high-risk factors are there, in my opinion here.
And remember, the call on the field was targeting, but that doesn't matter because when they review this as a clean play. They re-officiate this call. So it won't be a call stands. They'll either say targeting or no targeting. The personal foul is going to stand.
Yeah, no matter what.
What's in doubt here is the targeting.
Yep. And I think based on the looks that we saw, and were several great looks in a row by the truck there, they're going to remove the targeting facet of this unsportsmanlike conduct. They will get the penalty, but Simpson will likely get to stay in this game. And appropriately so, in my opinion.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. Number 10 can remain in the game.
You're on it tonight, Rich. You must have taken your fish oil, ginkgo biloba.
Well, every now and then you take a wild swing at one and connect.
That one was pretty clean, though. That was a meat pitch.
How about Spencer Danielson in his first game as a head coach? If you fall behind 10-0 on the road, your quarterback looks a little wobbly, and all of a sudden your team just springs to life. The defense, the offense, Holani, all of that. 1st and 10 from the 40. Williams pulls it, steps into the pocket, and down he goes. Now he got across the line of scrimmage, so that's not technically a sack. It would have been the 9th sack of the night.
It's incredible what Boise State has been able to do, but a lot of these sacks have been on the quarterbacks. Pulling the football down and not having a place to throw and not cleanly escaping the pocket, but Michael Callahan got himself home on that one, and it's been that way for most of the night. That's free money down here, short side of the screen.
Williams going to throw it down the sideline, looking for Colby Bowman. And Bowman, who had company in that corner, and it's incomplete.
I saw that one-on-one coverage. It was the stutter and go and the double move. And Bowman got his hands on that football, just couldn't bring it in. Ooh, that would have been a tough catch with the way that it was going across his body. If you're Williams, you want to leave that a little bit more inside, but that play had a chance. And those are the ones you got to bring down if you want to get yourself back in this game.
3rd down 10. Probably not in a spot for a field goal. Broncos show blitz. Here they come. Williams lobs this one up, and no one is there. Davis broke his pattern off and headed to the post, and the ball sailed down the sideline, incomplete.
Davis was wide open on that too, but both quarterback and wide receiver have to be on the same page, and smartly Utah State, and we talked about this on the previous drive, you're running out of your opportunities to do anything except try to convert, given how much time's left and how many points you're down.
You know, credit Boise State's defense for a lot of things. One of the things they've done tonight, importantly, is take the tempo out of the Utah State offense.
It's a great point, Rich. Not many people are able to do that, but their first down success has been a big part of it.
Blitz comes. Williams in trouble. There's sack number 9. Ahmed Hassanin the sack leader in the Mountain West.
Man, Hassanin had a couple sacks last week. He's had 2 here tonight. Old 91 is feeling it. Well, Boise State with a bowl berth on the line. Head coachless, the defense rising up for Spencer Danielson. The Broncos came to play.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Papa John's. Try the new garlic epic stuffed crust pizza today. By Chase. Make more of what's yours. And by Geico. For all your insurance needs, it's easy to Geico.
(38-10). Boise State with the football and the lead. And the good news, Taylon Green back in the ball game. He was out for the end of the last series. He's going to air it out deep. Austin bolts, and it's incomplete. Just the fact that Bolt is here and playing is incredible. He broke his leg in 2 places, a severe break at the start of last year against Oregon State. And it has been setback after setback to get back on the field. In fact, after he practices, after he plays, he's in a boot right away. And it's just incredible that he's able to get through all of that and get back. He had a huge catch, 42-yard touchdown catch last week. Back to the ground. This is Dubar, and Breezy, as his teammates call him, gets to the 43.
Taking a look here at Tim Keene, the offensive line coach for Boise State, and I just want to congratulate him and the rest of these big uglies up front because, Rich, this is the most improved position group on this team and possibly in the entire Mountain West Conference. They've been decimated with injuries early, but their next man up mentality really has revitalized this offense, and there's a lot of pride on these guys up front. Darren College is in the building. A lot of Bronco fans know who he is. He and the rest of the O-line world has been really impressed with what this group has done because they've been tremendous.
And a huge hole for Dubar. And the Broncos have run for almost 315 yards in this ball game.
But don't get it twisted. There's some pretty good running backs in this backfield, but look at that. I mean, you and I could run through those holes. Maybe you, not me, but it's been remarkable. They're just a blue-collar group. They didn't have much success early, but they hung in there. And man, oh man, if you want to know why this Boise State team, despite some of the challenges that they've had, are in the position that they're at to possibly play in the championship game, it's Tim Keene's offensive line and the consistency, and they've gotten better week over week.
That's a nice move by Dubar. Cage Casey, Ben Dooley, Mason Randolph, Garrett Curran, and Cade Beresford. And here's some of the highlights for that offensive line.
I mean, it's just been a combination of covering guys up, the initial contact power, the combination blocks getting to the second level, and then when you have backs that can make people miss or outrun people to the perimeter, you're cooking with grease, as they say. Ashton Jeanty finally being healthy. George Holani finally being healthy. This has been an offense that hasn't been at 100% almost the entire season.
319.
And counting.
Dubar. He makes people miss. Chambres Dubar, or Breezy, out of Anna, Texas, is a true freshman. There's a great lineage of running backs. Alexander Madison, Doug Martins, guys in the NFL. And you get a sense, too, that both Holani and Jeanty have a shot at getting there. Dubar's just getting started.
Yeah, no question, man. But when you're a running back, the best ability is availability. And that's going to be one of the challenges that George Holani and Ashton Jeanty are going to have to overcome, is to prove that they can be a premier back on the next level, where there is no question about that on the collegiate one.
Dubar runs into the tackling machine, MJ Tafisi. And that's at the 18-yard line after a 2-yard pickup.
We haven't talked much about Tafisi, but man, This guy averages almost 11 tackles per game. He leads the conference, and he's just a ball hawk, man. He's got a great nose for the football, and he plays the position like it needs to be played. Sometimes doesn't get the help he needs from up front. They've had to play around their defensive line a little bit, but Tafisi's been a ball player.
He only has 12 tackles tonight.
Slouchy.
Dubar, nice cut there. And he's down to the 10, and the Broncos are just chewing up yardage, chewing up time. And
now they got their backups in here. Look on this side, Ethan Card doing a great job of just crushing down that other side of the line of scrimmage. That was Cage Casey.
He's giant, Card
on that one as well, man. These guys are eating up front.
Card is 6'8", 311. Transfer from Texas Tech.
We've seen Roger carry on, get some roll at times. Ethan Card will put on 19 and play that extra big run blocking tight end.
Oh, Dubar with a big hole, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. And a little shimmy.
Like killer whales and baby seals out there right now. Boise State is just hunting, man. Utah State with very little resistance there.
Spencer Danielson's very first game as a head coach in college football has been quite a success. The running backs, the offensive line, and especially that defense have been bright spots tonight. And it's been all Broncos since the start of the second quarter. (45-10) Boise State. This is the middle game of our triple header. And coming up, you want to take a look at a really hot team. San Jose State takes on San Diego State in San Jose, right here on CBS Sports Network. And of course, San Jose State, one of the teams in the Mountain West with just 2 losses, like Boise State. Boise State beat San Jose State. That was a turning point for the Spartans. They had a bye after that, and they came back running the football, and they wiped out Fresno State. Ran for over 300 against Fresno State last week. That's coming up. And that one is through the end zone. The defense has been spectacular. We got sacks, lots of sacks, a school record 9 of them.
There's been a lot of ways that the Broncos have been dominant tonight, but rushing the passer has probably been the most impressive, Rich. They've got 8 different players with at least a half a sack, 6 different players with at least 1 sack, and Hassanin is one of 2 players with a couple different sacks, and the 9 total is the most for Boise State since joining the FBS all the way back in 1996 when I was still healthy enough to be playing in the NFL. If you want to know whether or not this defense rose to the occasion for Spencer Danielson, the interim coach, there's your answer.
Utah State keeping it on the ground. Cooper Jones in the ball game as a running back.
That's being a good teammate by Utah State to keep that ball on the ground and that clock rolling. Nothing? Bueller?
Yeah. You know, I was just about to say, I'm thinking bowl eligibility, because we talked about winner gets bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Utah State can still get to a bowl.
Yeah, they go on the road next week to New Mexico, which they'll likely be favored in that game. They got to handle business, but...
Oh, there's a catch by Davis, midfield, and he's spilled there. He's limping a bit.
He's had a heck of a night tonight.
It's Jalen Neal, one of the corners that's pretty deep on the depth chart, the sophomore out of Atlanta with that tackle.
Yeah, Vaughn's been relatively quiet. Davis. For the most part, that's his third catch on the evening. But a good sign for Levi Williams in this throw offense to get something going here. And if you're the Broncos, you got some backups in there, bow your neck and get off the field.
Williams into a slide. He was hit, but it wasn't a real vicious one. And it looked like the Boise State player, Cortez Hogans, was, that's close. I mean, look, once they go into a slide, if you've committed to the tackle.
It's really hard, man. And Hogans knew what had taken place there. That's why he laid there in place. Like, oh, man, don't do this now. I'm finally in here.
Williams pulls it. And Levi Williams inside the 40. And he's just short of the first down.
Now, I know Utah State wants to score here, Rich, but we've been talking about bowl eligibility. How aggressive can you afford to be with Levi Williams, given that you've already lost 2 quarterbacks against this defense so far? You love his mobility, but really affect your depth and maybe your ability to play in the postseason if you get 16 hurt here.
Cooper Legas left with what appeared to be a shoulder issue or an right arm, throwing arm issue. McKay Hillstead got caught in a pile and was limping with that right leg on his way out. They'll keep it on the ground, and they'll keep it with Cooper Jones. So 1 game left for Utah State, and it's at New Mexico. So they win that game, they get to 6-6.
Well, to win on the road, you got to bring your run game, and you have to bring your defense. I think Utah State's run game's a little bit better shape than their defense has been, at least here this evening.
Blitz comes, Williams throw, there was a collision at the 20, and here comes a flag.
Yeah, it's a late flag, but it was one that was warranted. Deontay Thornton basically tackling Colby Bowman there. It's been a
pass interference, number 27 on the defense. Foul will be the spot of the foul. First down.
It's been a pretty clean night for the most part for Boise State, but you just see the tackle and grab there, bringing down. It's almost sometimes, if you're a defensive back, if you can just be a little bit more patient, not do the panic grab, you probably miss half the laundry.
Cooper Jones again, and Jones is inside the 20. Jones is a senior out of Elko, Nevada. 5'6", 170.
Love it. And as hard as these losses are, these are great opportunities for players like Jones who are out there at practice every day, given the same amount of effort. Yeah, this hasn't been a clean game tonight, not the way that Utah State wanted to play, given that they want to play in a postseason bowl, especially with the way the first half of the season went for this team, man. The fact that they're even on the brink of becoming bowl eligible really is a testament to Blake Anderson and his coaching staff.
Williams' throw was high and incomplete. This is going to be 3rd down and about 6. Well, for the Broncos, take a look at this throw. It's just in and out of the hands of Ryder McGilvery.
And that's one that McGilvery's got to be able to bring down. He's a tall drink of water, and that ball was up high, but it was thrown well enough to catch.
Jones, this will be a 4th down and about 3. As we get under 2 minutes left in this ball game, Spencer Danielson taking over as the head coach on an interim basis for Boise State. The Broncos have responded with an incredible run from the start of the 2nd quarter. They were down 10-0. They've gone on a 45-0 run. And there's been nothing but energy coming off that sideline all night. Jones, I don't think he got it. And the Broncos have held 1:22 left Boise State's on top. All over but the kneel down. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. AT, update your U.S. Army keys to the game.
Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Boise State up front controlling the line of scrimmage is absolutely dominant. The defense did give up some big plays, but those turnovers more than made up for it. For the Aggies offensively, avoiding negative plays, moving on, and then finally defensively make Boise State throw the win. They could not do that. Taylon Green did an excellent job of protecting the football, and the big men up front, Tim Keene's unit, did the rest.
All right, now we get to see C.J. Tiller and the Broncos with Tyler Crow getting his first carry. And Crow is just a do-it-all guy. He's a team favorite, a fan favorite, a local kid, Nampa, Idaho. And Spencer Danielson and the Broncos are going to head into that Air Force game still alive in the Mountain West Championship quest. Their bowl eligibility streak is extended now. So it sits at 26, second longest in the nation. Georgia extended theirs to 27.
You got a new quarterback under center, C.J. Tiller, making his debut for the best play in football.
Victory formation. And what a night for the Broncos after a crazy, crazy 2 weeks and a really tough weekend and week. Spencer Danielson and the Broncos with an enormous, emotional win, 45-10.
Rich, he was pretty clear about why he coaches, and it's for the kids. He told us he didn't want this season to be an asterisk for this senior class. Just give me 2 weeks, fellas. All of your focus, all of your energy, all of your heart. Let's get back to having fun and playing Boise State football. And boy, was that the case here tonight.
And they are still alive in the quest to get to the championship game as the Broncos improved to 5-2. Tied with Air Force. They play Air Force on the blue next Friday. UNLV with that win is at 6-1. Nothing really settled in the Mountain West. And the Broncos, Spencer Danielson, his first game as a head coach, down 10-0, no problem. 45 straight points and a win for Aaron Taylor, Brandon Baylor, our entire crew. I'm Rich Waltz, a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. On to San Jose, Aztecs.